When it comes to RWBY, I still think that this volume 8, is probably one of the better ones when compared to the others of the past. I personally thought it started out pretty great, better than how other volumes started out, but it did kind of lose its way as we started progressing through, which was very disappointing. I still love the show despite the emotions it draws from me. So I wanted to talk about the finale for episode 13 and episode 14, volume 8, and I have emotions. Let's get into it. Okay, I think we should start off with Ironwood, Cinder, and Harriet from episode 13. I really dislike how they decided to focus that episode on their plot lines, their storylines. I don't care for Harriet. I didn't care for her at all last volume. I hate that she has a plot line this volume with the Aesops and stuff, and especially with Jailbirds, Crow, and Robin. I think they, considering how much they were put onto the back burner, like they were basically pushed aside. We barely got anything from this volume, and to make them relatively more important for episode 13 and episode 14 when things start going down. Like, this is the showdown. This Cinder just started something, and it's up for, you know, Team RWBY to be Team RWBY, to stop it, to be the heroes of their story. And instead, the writers decide that it's a good time to focus on Ironwood. It's a good time to explain what the villains have been up to, specifically Cinder, Watts, and Neo, in the second to last episode of the volume, and how it led up to this moment when Cinder interrupts Team RWBY's plan when it comes to evacuating Atlas or Mantle or whatever. It's very frustrating that they decided to use the second last episode to explain these things, to showcase these things, to give these characters these moments. Which, I mean, this has always been a problem when it comes to RWBY, that they can't seem to focus only on their main characters for more than like 2 episodes. And I'm probably being generous. I don't know. Specifically this volume, they did not focus a lot on Team RWBY. They focused on, of course, the members of the team, but they weren't all together. It wasn't just the team. And I really hate that, because volume 6 specifically, we got a lot of that Team RWBY, them being reunited after their separation. And then volume 7, if I remember correctly, for the most part, we got some of it. I don't think we got a desirable amount, to be honest, because RWBY kind of went off with Penny, and then Blake and Yang were basically attached to each other's hip, and then there was Weiss. So yes, for episode 13 specifically, I established Harriet, right? I don't care about Harriet. Let's go to Ironwood. Ironwood, he's basically the good guy gone mentally insane, I suppose. And since episode 1 of volume 8, they've established that he's gone off the deep end, and throughout it's kind of been his descent. We continue focusing on this when we could use the screen time he's getting for Team RWBY. It's stupid how Ironwood has basically had these kind of almost repeated character arcs. Let's go to Cinder also. So Cinder, who? Okay, Cinder. I have feelings about Cinder. She's a commonly hated character in RWBY for good reasons. I gave Cinder chances. I didn't immediately hate on her. I was alright with her. In fact, I liked her. And when she had that thing with Watts and Neo, the fact that she apologized to Neo, I was like, okay, Cinder might actually be a good villain. They're building up Cinder for the villain she's supposed to be. But instead, Cinder doesn't change. Any potential she had, any chance I gave her, it just went away. It's the same. She's not changing. I thought she would change. I thought we were kind of foreshadowing that in the volume. It's disappointing, in all honesty, and the fact that she ends up betraying Neo and then killing Watts adds onto the cake that is Cinder. Because it's not that hard to make her a villain that doesn't suck. And they know that. I know the writers are capable of doing that. In fact, Watts is probably the only good villain compared to everyone else. Even Salem has her flaws. I mean, Salem basically, she didn't get the proper therapy she needed when it came to handling grief, and then it all went from there. But Cinder. Okay, let's talk about Yang. I know for sure, I mean, it's obvious, it's stupid logic, but main characters, they can't die. It's simple as that. Let me rephrase that. Main characters can't die until the end of the story when they do something heroic or it's for a narrative aspect. aspect. I genuinely can't name any shows I've seen where main characters die in the middle of a series. So we'll go with the first point. The characters weren't involved enough when it came to Yang falling. Because we've seen it so many times. We've seen it so many times that these characters, they are more capable than just standing around. We've seen what Wise can do. We've seen what RWBY can do. The fact that Blake's the only one who tries to save Yang, it's kind of just, why not maybe RWBY? So we can use the excuse that it happened too quickly for no one to process it other than Blake last minute, and that's why she wasn't able to catch Yang on time. I don't think it left the impact it should have. There was so many other ways you could have delivered this, and I think slow-mo was the major fall when it came to that because of how long they used that slow-mo clip. I would say it's probably roughly a minute, and it's just, it doesn't work when it comes to impacting the viewer. Of course, maybe first watch, like I was impacted first watch. Like for the smallest of moments, I thought maybe Yang actually died because they killed Pyrrha. No one expected Pyrrha to die. They killed Penny initially. Volume 3, they killed Penny, not, we didn't think she would come back. Even though we should have figured because she's a robot. I mean, most people figured. But I knew, because of the dumbass logic, that his main characters don't die, we didn't lose Yang. And I figured, since, of course, everyone started pointing it out the moment Yang fell, or like at least after the episode Yang fell, everyone pointed out in the intro, Yang was the first to fall, so Team RWBY would follow after Yang. So we were proved this point in, of course, the final episode of Volume 8, because each one of them go bye-bye. Another thing about Yang's sacrifice when she fell out of the world, like the stupid Minecraft player she is, Blake's the only one who has a strong reaction. Not even RWBY, her own sister, has a strong enough reaction when compared to Blake, which is her implied girlfriend at this point. There's no use in denying it. So the fact that RWBY didn't have a strong reaction when compared to Blake, and the fact that Wise didn't really have a strong reaction too, because they were all teammates. They all basically have spent a good amount of time with each other. Of course, we can use the excuse that RWBY didn't get the time to process it because immediately after Neo attacked. The problem is, when we follow up with this in the finale, RWBY's still fighting Neo. She isn't really angry. She's not reacting the way you would expect someone to react when they just lost their sister, their sibling. We can use other examples, basically. None on the top. No, okay, yes, we can use other examples. Let's do Wanda and Quicksilver, if I remember correctly. Look at that reaction. Yeah, look at it. Look, ooh, emotional. I know some people don't care, but emotional. Look at her reaction. I guess I'm recording through video format because my voice recording app isn't working, unfortunately. So I'm recording this a month after my initial recording when it came to ranting about the RWBY Volume 8 finale. And I stopped, I guess 2 weeks later while I was working on the video because I was busy with other projects. And unfortunately, when I came back to this project, I couldn't find the previous voice recordings I had used when I was rambling about it. But when I look back at it now and when I think about it, I don't think I care at this point. This is just a video I'm getting out because I can, I guess. Or this is just a video I'm getting out because it is content that I can upload. I don't think I care at this. I'm tired. I still like RWBY. I think I've said that in the beginning of the video. I still like RWBY. And while I didn't like the finale all too much, I'm not going to rewatch the season 8. I'm not going to rewatch season 8 so I can follow up with this video because it's unfortunate that the recordings got deleted, but oh well. I hope you enjoyed this video, I guess. Thank you everyone for the support so far. And hopefully I can get another video or two. My goal is to get at least 2 more videos out before June, but we'll see if that happens. So yeah, thank you. Until then, eat strange.